This week we are doing Parashat Pinchas. I always had a lot of interest in this parasha. I mean, others also, but this one also. It's very, very interesting. This parasha, a few issues. We spoke previous years or previous times about this, but we have the action of Pinchas, that he did what he did, and the gift, so-called, he received from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Brit Kehunat Olam, eternal covenant of priesthood that he had received. And after that we have the commandment of Korbanot of Shabbat, and the story of Moshe Rabbeinu going up to the mountain to see the promised land. So first of all, the question we can ask is the first one: how is it possible? How could it be that for an act of basically murder, you will receive a gift? And what's the connection between that, Shabbat, and Moshe Rabbeinu? I mean, I don't care how you look at it. He basically killed two people. So let's look at exactly what happened with Pinchas. Zimri and Cosby show out in the open the details, to fine details of the avodah of Baal Peor. The avodah of Baal Peor was a quite peculiar avodah zarah, in which one would eat diuretic food. They would eat spinach, and they would drink greens, water, so kind of boiled greens, leaf greens or something like this that would make you have the runs. And the person goes and exposes himself in front of the statue of Peor, and the avodah, the way they worship it, was to defecate in front of that, out in the open, to pull your pants down and to defecate on the statue. I mean, it's a really...
How's that worshiping you, Rabbi?
That's the way it's being done. I mean, there are different types. If you look at Masechet Avodah Zarah, you will see there are different types of idol worshiping. There's certain idol worshiping. It's called Markulis, in which they used to take rocks, and they used to throw the rocks on the thing. And some religions actually made a whole business out of that. They would spin around and they throw rocks at the thing, not mentioning names. There were other types of Avodah Zarah where they used to go and they used to break sticks in front of it. Different types, But the essence of Baal Peor is very interesting, because we mentioned it before, that the whole thing of Baal Peor is not, you look at this such a bizarre and repulsing act of defecating in public. I mean, not only you defecating, you actually make yourself extremely diuretic, and then to do it like this, it's something that it's very deep. It's not the act itself. If you concentrate on the act itself, you miss the whole point of this avodah zarah. It takes a lot from a person to be able to expose himself in public and to be not modest in when he's using the facilities in such a manner. It's just to show everybody that I don't care. There's no busha anymore, no embarrassment anymore. It's all good, and it all goes, and nobody can say anything to me, and I can do whatever I want, and nobody can stop me. That avodah, that idol worshipping of Peor does not exist today, but the concept of I don't care what people do, regardless of how bizarre. Come closer. Of how disgusting it is and how weird it is. I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in the open, and I don't care. So no, somebody left his jacket here, by the way. So I think it's Yeshiva. So we have to ask him. So, and then on top of all, they are joining together in an intimate act in front of everybody And Moshe and Aaron, the oldest Kenim, are sitting there in the open and basically doing absolutely nothing, and they're crying. They're crying. And comes Pinchas. Ari, come closer. Comes Pinchas, takes the spear in his hand, and shish kebabs, both of them, with a spear inside like that, and in front of him again. And you have to understand that Zimri again was a head of a state. It was the head of the tribe, and we have here one of the most violent acts of what we call zealousy. Now, a lot of people mistaken zealousy with other things, but in order to be zealous is not so simple. And the Midrash tells us that we say that Bnei Israel were chotim, sinned with Benot Moav, but Cosbi wasn't a Bat Moav; she was a Midianite. The act of Zimri, what was so, besides the act itself that was so out in the open, what was behind it? Is there a deeper meaning to that? He was challenging Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, listen, Moshe Rabbeinu, Habibi, wait, you're such a tzaddik. And that's the Midrash tells us that Zimri converted her. He says, you took a Midianite, this one is a Midianite. What's the difference between this and this? And when he challenged Moshe Rabbeinu in such a way, he was basically challenging HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Comes Pinchas. Now Moshe Rabbeinu cannot do anything about it. The question is, why did Moshe Rabbeinu, he knew the halacha. We say Moshe forgot the halacha. But he knew what the halacha was. The skinny knew, everybody forgot. Take the spear, stick him. But then it would look bad. Then Moshe would look bad, like he is nogea badavar, and a dayan cannot be nogea badavar. If, for example, Yossi is the dayan, and I have a dispute with David, and I said to Yossi, the case is so and so and so, he cannot be the dayan anymore. Moshe was nogea badavar. He had a negia. He could not have done anything. Comes Pinchas and does an act of zealousy, and he gets a reward. And the question is, we'll see exactly what's going on, but the halacha of Kanai, of a zealous, is a very peculiar halacha. Is that if he comes to Beit Din and says, excuse me, so and so is happening outside, you can't tell him, go ahead and spear them. Act of zealousy, one needs to understand, and that's why we are confused many times, in our generations, when there's a lot of lack of genuine feeling, and we became actors many times, is people in the name of zealousy do things, and then wow, he's such a zealous, he's such a kanai. Act of zealousy doesn't act like this. What Pinchas did, says, I don't care what will happen to me, I don't care what happened with me, this needs to be done, and regardless of what happens, I'm doing it. In other words, act of zealousy is a complete selfless act. I'm not going to get a reward for this. I'm not looking to get a recognition from it. I'm doing because it needs to be done. It cannot go on anymore. If I'm claiming to be zealous, and I have some kind of a tovat hana'ah, some kind of a benefit from it, that's not an act of zealousy. It's an act of self-interest. And such, this will be considered as murder. And yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Asher kinai kinati. He acted upon my behalf. Why? Because he didn't think about himself. He didn't think it needs to be done. That's why it is against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The act of Zimri is against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And comes Pinchas in a very selfless way, come and does what he does. We always sing Pinchas Hu Eliyahu, right? We say that, right? I love this song. We used to sing the song on Shabbat, not only Brit Milah. I love this song, right? You know which one I'm talking about. Which one? A little off key, but with a little help with your friends, you'll do just fine. Hey. So Eliyahu did the same thing. Eliyahu acted in behalf of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When he killed Nevi'ah Baal, he wasn't afraid. Oh, they're going to do what I got to do, but I got to do what I got to do. Not necessarily the Pinchas is exactly the same person, but the same act of selflessness. When you are Kanai for Hashem, you can't put yourself into it. You can't be a Kanai, a zealous person, when you get some kind of grease in your pocket for the bills to go down. That's a good actor, but it's not a Kanai. And when you do things like this, you get punished. Because not only for the act that you did, but rather you also used Hashem's name for your benefit. And that's not allowed to do. That's not allowed to do. And this act it's not an act of hatred. If there is any emotion involved with it, it's a different act altogether. And Pinchas gets the bracha, Brit Keunat Olam, and he gets the bracha of Shalom, because Brit Shalom, and not Brit Milchama. והרי נותן לו את בריתי, שלום. What is this all about? We're missing the point here. There is a big difference, and there's a fundamental difference between, in Hebrew, between being tokef and takif. Tokef, I'm giving validity to something. It's almost the same thing. Or tkifut, which means being aggressiveness. So when I'm standing in my situation in a very determined way, and I'm not mixing in, I'm standing with my validity. That's tokif. When I'm standing in a brute way, gasut ruach, I'm gas, and I have emotions and so on and so forth, therefore the person becomes, the tkifut becomes into violence. And being assertive is also a form of a little bit of a form of a violence. It's not, a person is fighting with everybody. There are certain people, it doesn't make a difference. Where they go, they're always going to argue with someone. It doesn't make a difference what they'll do, they're always going to argue with someone. Their ways is not ways of shalom. They are called takif, very aggressive. The way of the Torah is not darkei shalom u'meriva. Right? It's only darkei shalom, lo darkei meriva. It's only ways of peace and harmony, not ways of fighting. And I don't care how much does the person know. You can tell if the person allowed the Torah to harmonize him, and he's in harmony with the Torah by the way he acts. He doesn't fight, he doesn't argue, he doesn't create machlokot. He's a unifying factor, not a dividing factor. Unifying factor. The ways of the Torah, darkei noam v'chol netivotea, shalom, shlemut. The Torah is supposed to bring people together. If you have someone who is a dividing factor, he's argumentative with everything, about everything. He might know a lot of Torah, but he is not a ben Torah. Not argument like we sit down in Chevruta and we learn. That's not arguing. That's finding the truth together. But I'm talking about arguments that riv, umadon, fightings, turmoil all the time. I'm not saying tranquilo, sitting down, drinking, what do they drink nowadays?
Tequila.
Caipirinhas. Anybody knows what caipirinha is?
What is it?
You don't know what caipirinha?
Caipirinha
is a Brazilian cocktail, very good. You put cachaça, a little bit of rum, And you don't know cachaça.
Not that cool.
Cool. Okay, just see what caipirinha is, or pina colada for girls, But, sitting down like this, under a banana tree with the wind. We're not talking about this kind of tranquility, like tranquilo. We're talking about tranquility of harmonizing everything, creating a good atmosphere. That's a person is betokef, he's not takif. Sometimes an act of peace could be an act of weakness, right? How many people, could be, how many people would walk in the morning, right? And they will tell you every morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, shalom, how are you? Hi. Why do people say good morning? Because if they feel that if I would be nice to you, they many times interpret niceness and caring as weakness. Why is he saying hello to me? Because he recognizes I'm strong. He just wants to kiss up to me. But that's not the way. זה לא דרכה של תורה. דרכה של תורה, הווה מקדים שלום לכל אדם. Everybody, Jew, Gentile, anyone. You see somebody, say, good morning, how are you? Shalom. That's a sign. And those little things, you indicate great people. Little things. Many people who are aggressive are weak. If you are aggressive, you tend to yell all the time. You need to show all the time that you are the man. I'm Tarzan, you Jane. That's a sign of weakness. If you have a Chihuahua, or Shih Tzu, or Poodle, right? They bark all the time. Shut up, I'm going to smack you like a cockroach, the little dog. They won't even bite you and run away. Meanwhile, you have a Great Dane. He doesn't need to show. He knows he's big. He doesn't need to bark. They don't even bark. One time I knew these people, they had the giant Akira, this white Japanese dog. I mean, he looked like a donkey. He was so big and powerful that when my daughter was young, she, pulled his ear. He didn't even move. And he just turned like this with his head. He knocked it out to the other side of the room. And he never barked. One time he barked, he got scared. He never barked. This voice came out of him, If you're strong, you don't need to prove anything. If you're weak, you're aggressive. Aggressiveness is weakness. And one needs to understand that peace and harmony is not, I'm not giving up for the needs of the other. Because, in order for us to have peace, I need to give up. It's not about giving up, but rather peace is cooperation. Willingness to cooperate, to find through validity what both sides want, and both sides want a solution for the situation which will be equal and fair to both sides, and both sides should be happy. That's peace. When you use the word shalom bayit, you don't need to listen to 15 lectures about shalom bayit. You just need to explain this topic one time and practice it from this time and on. How many times you can hear about shalom bayit? Shalom bayit, shalom bayit. The more you say it, the less shalom bayit. Explain to them that. We have a problem. Both sides need to want to find a solution. That's why between the Jews and the Arabs, there's never going to be peace. Because one side always gives, the other side always takes, and the other one, the one that takes, is never happy. They throw rockets, they throw bombs. It's never going to be peace, ever. Besides, there is never going to be peace in the land, because if you look at the Torah, Torah says it's simple. Because I am your God, and I'll give you peace, And I'll give you war if you don't keep my mitzvot. You want to know that? That's what it is. Open. Vakasha, Sefer Dvarim, when it talks about the klalot, it says it straight out. Nothing to be, you don't need to go to political science. It says it's right there. And we both should know what are my red lines and what are your red lines through validity and mutual respect. If you have a couple, right? And they're fighting, the woman would say, I can tolerate a lot. Don't give me rings, don't give me houses, don't give me cars, don't give me anything. But I want my Shabbat table to be peace and quiet. I don't want yelling in my house. That's my red line. And the person will say, well, who are you? Do you give me red lines? There's never going to be peace. Might as well go divorce. That's it. Go to the Beit Din, go divorce. But I say, okay, I can respect that. Fine. And he will give her red line. When I come home, I don't want to see your arguments on the phone for hours at a time. Playing on Facebook or speaking to your friends or whatever it is. That's my red line. Okay, that's fine. We have a solution. We want to find a solution. This is your red line. This is my red line. Go ahead, Bechavot, go do it like this. Then you're going to have Shlom Bayit. Pinchas did not act from a point of religious fanaticism. He was a crazy lunatic. But rather understanding that being determined and understanding that there are red lines that you cannot cross. It reminds me always, you talk about red lines, it always reminds me the absurd of Israeli society. And I'll show it to you, how does it work. In Israel, they have red lines in the Kinneret, which is the biggest source, the Sea of Galilee, which is the biggest source of water for Israel. Below a certain level, they close the dam and they don't allow water to flow to the Jordan River, which ends up in the Dead Sea, which ends up to be nothing. They close the dam to bring the level up, because it sometimes doesn't rain. So the red line was here. Well, and then we're going to have the second red line. And after they made the peace with Jordan, they had the black line. And we cannot go below the black line because it's going to be irreversible damage. But they keep on moving the black line. So there's no red lines, there's also black line. In other words, there's no backbone. If you decide something that's your red line, this I don't do. So you have to respect it, both for yourself and both for others. So he didn't do that. He said there are certain things that you cannot cross. That act of complete outrageous behavior towards Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah, what he represents, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the respect of Am Yisrael, that's not something that we Jews do. You want to kiss, you go ahead in your bedrooms, but not in the street. That's something that we don't do. There's a certain conduct. Those red lines cannot be crossed. And that's how he acts. In our case, it was a complete avodah zarah. Idol worshipping and a disgrace for everything that Am Yisrael and his Torah represent. Everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all about. And that red line is, that's it. We're not willing to cross. For that, he got the Brit Shalom. He was concerned about all the other things. He was not concerned about himself. It wasn't about this. Am I going to make a name for myself here? Am I going to be important? Right? Can you take a selfie while I spear him like this? You stand like, like this. It didn't happen. No, Pinchas didn't take selfies. They had a kosher phone. They have internet on their phone. Like mine. Where's my phone? And then we always have, of course, the issue of what we call, shalom is a big thing in the Jewish people. Harmony, peace and harmony. And the most common thing is we wish on somebody what? Shabbat shalom. So why do we make Shabbat shalom? And what is shalom? There's always a war between two opposites, between two extremes, between right and left. So what is shalom? Not overcoming the right over the left or the left over the right. It's the unification of life, left and right together. The Chafetz Chaim writes that you're allowed to change, divert from the truth a little bit from the truth for Darkei Shalom. In other words, as we always know, if we have a couple, right, that they have a fight or whatever, you can change a little bit, right? He could say that, for example, he says that the husband, he goes to the husband and says, your wife says that she loves you so much and she really wants to make peace with you, right? And he goes to the wife and she says, you know, your husband told me he loves you so much and he wants to make peace with you. And the both says, really? Really? LOL, really? Really? You know, make smiley faces. And they says, okay, can you please arrange a meeting? And then, so therefore it was a shaker, it wasn't a lie. They really wanted to make peace with each other. So it wasn't really a lie, you're just allowed to change, not to lie. You're allowed to leshanot, to change, mishum darkei shalom. But a person needs to be rodef shalom. Pursue, chase after, not only peace, and harmony as well. And that's what he calls shlom bayit. Shlom bayit is the unification of opposites. And when there is an order, and there is unification between two extremes, then there is joy, there is simcha, there's happiness. Why do we suffer? Why do we suffer, or why do we even get sick? Why? Because there is imbalance inside of us. Sometimes we are so internally imbalanced that it makes us sick. An extreme situation will make you sick. And the most common example is stress. Stress. Lack of joy of life. Not fun in life. Joy in life. If you have joy, simcha, you understand, et la'avod ve'et lismoach. Time to work and time to live. There's time for everything. But when everything becomes one, you only work and everything is work and your life is all revolved around work, you are imbalanced. And what will happen to you? You'll be sick because you are not harmonized. There has a time for everything. Are you balanced? Do you want to be sick? Is your house going to be... Where are you taking yourself? Into what life when you're going to get married and you are already not balanced? How are you going to do it? Because then you come with your chaos and your wife will come with her chaos. And what do you have at home? Big chaos. Quantum physics you have at home. I don't know what you have there. Obamacare, I don't know what you got there. But you got a big balagan. You got the border in Texas. That's chaos. 30,000 people, they're knocking on the doors to come in. There's no unification, and it falls apart. When your body has anti-immune disorder, when the body attacks itself, you get sick. You're killing yourself. You're not balanced. You eat too much, or you sleep too much, or you sit too much, and so on and so forth. And a person, they say b'shum rav ha'ashlag, when we say oseh shalom b'mromav, how can a person do shalom b'mromav? When he elevates himself above all the contrasts and all the opposites they are inside of him, he makes peace. He elevates himself from all the mountains that he has himself. Oseh shalom b'mromav, according to that, is not necessarily HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is doing that. You are doing that. When the person does peace with each other, with himself, when he has less conflicts inside, if I know that I need to do something, or I just did something wrong, but I don't have the ability to say, I'm sorry, I just made something, and I go on with this to justify what I do, so I'm going to get even angrier and angrier, and it's going to be completely out of control. It's going to be destructive. It's like a tumbleweed that collects more with it. It's like a tornado inside. You want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make peace? That's not a problem. Start making peace with each other. Start making peace with yourself. Harmonize yourself. Stop. One of the worst halachot, the worst acts that a person can do is not just killing. Is Adam hayored lenichsei chavero, a person who goes into his friend's business. I'm opening a store. He opens a store next to me to take the business away from me. I have news for you. I was reading a big article today, halachic article, Choshen Mishpat. I was talking to a rabbi about this as well. We have a concept, en hasagat gvul. Hasagat gvul, there's no trespassing when it comes to Torah. However, there is hayored lenichsei chavero. If I have a shul and you're going to open a shul, you're going to take a business. You're going to take my nechasim. That exists too. But why would you do that? Not because you really care about because you want to take me out of it. Therefore, it means that we don't have any harmony among us, and that we never exist. We will never exist. It will fall apart. That's how communities fall apart. That's how nations fell apart. Every nation that was united succeeded. They weren't. They fell apart. Why would you hurt your fellow Jews' parnasa? You have a bagel store. Why do you have to put a bagel store right next to me? Go to the next town. Go to the next town. Open a bagel store there. Why next to me? That exists even in Torah, even in things like this. One needs to be very careful with that. It's disharmony. And you're doing the disharmony, and you're affecting all of us. And you want to say, Oseh Shalom b'momav. Before you say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Oseh Shalom b'momav, did you shalom with yourself? Did you do shalom with your fellow Jew around you? Were you pursuing peace? Were you pursuing harmony? So what do we wish for each other? Shabbat Shalom. This is a wishing. We wish for somebody. It's not a statement. We don't say Shabbat Shalom. I wish you Shabbat Shalom. Why? Because we wish for each other that in the next 25 hours of Shabbat, we are going to be b'shalom. I'm wishing you should have peace and harmony. And you bless back, you say, this should be, the next 24 hours should be of blessing, peace and harmony. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. I'm wishing this for you. I'm not making a statement, Shabbat Shalom. Today is Shabbat Shalom. What day today? Shabbat Shalom today. It's not today. I'm wishing it on you. That not only there's going to be peace between you and me, internally, there's not going to be arguments. There's not going to be opposites. Not arguments in the house. Usually, and I'm telling you, the Yetzer Hara, the Sitra Achara, if he wants to destroy a Jewish home, how does it start? On the Shabbat table. The destruction of a Jewish home, believe me, starts at the Shabbat table. The arguments, you wait all week long for Shabbat, for the whole family to sit together, everybody sits home, clean, we come back from Bet HaKnesset, the candles are going on, beautiful array of colors and shadows and so on and so forth. And then the fighting starts. You got the Shabbat, you got the whole entire week. You want to keep your family intact? Saying on your Shabbat doesn't make a difference what happened. If the wine spilled or the dish broke, who cares? It's all a test. The Shabbat is very important. So we wish for each other Shabbat Shalom. And the same thing as we say, if we say Tikatevu v'tichatemu, right? We are reminding to each other that this is going to be, you're going to be signed, you're going to be written, right? And therefore you should act in accordance to the time. I'm reminding you that it's Rosh Hashanah, Tikatevu v'tichatemu. I'm reminding you also it's Rosh Hashanah, that it's Shabbat. And on Shabbat you have to act accordingly and appropriately. And when we say shalom to each other, shalom, oh, shalom aleichem, during the week, we're reminding each other of Shabbat as well, because Shabbat is the focal point of Am Yisrael. And this is, we were talking about families, and we were talking about parents. We have a parent and a child here, but, I wasn't. But there comes Moshe. And this is really how it all really falls together. Moshe is going to the mountain, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lichora, as it would seem, is trying to be a little bit mean. Here, Moshe Rabbeinu, please go to the mountain. I'm going to show you something now. I'll show you. Moshe Rabbeinu goes, the guy is old. He's like 120 years old. He's going up to the mountain, like Charles Heston, close up over there. And he says, Moshe, he said, yep. He said, look, you see this land? See this land? They're getting in there. I'm going to... He said, you think it's fair? I mean, Moshe knows he's not going in. You think it's fair to show it to him? Why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to do that? What is happening there? Moshe Rabbeinu is concerned. Moshe Rabbeinu is concerned. He says, man, I know these people. They are a difficult crowd. They are a difficult group of people. Who knows what they're going to do? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not going to be here. I know my way with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I said, listen, El Rachum V'Chanun, this, okay, Salachti Kidvarecha, I'm going to be gone now. What's going to happen to these people? Chas v'shalom, they can wiped out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu here gives us a lesson through Moshe to all of us parents. Listen, Al Tidag, Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm going to bring him to this country, to this land. Don't worry about it. You can die in peace. They're going to enter there even without you. As a parent, we are very concerned. We are concerned that our children will go, so we try to control the kids. I'm going to be your boss until I'm going to depart to the other world. Let him go. Let him go. You should have emunah. Kadosh Baruch Hu will take care of him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of him. He will bring them in. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving us a tremendous lesson. This is like, learn how to pass over responsibility and let go. Just let go. Many times that fear does not allow us to let go and let somebody else grow. Sometimes parents choke their children to the point that they're completely disabled. And that in a way is lack of emunah and lack of appreciation. After all, you educated your kid, didn't you? So let him go. I mean, if you're educating him appropriately, let him go. He'll do just fine. It's hard. But that's when the emunah comes. That's when the emunah, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the emunah that you did whatever you can, the best of your abilities to educate your kid to make the right decisions, that you did the best in your abilities to have the emunah, to implant the emunah in your child, that he or she will grow appropriately to make the right decision. The emunah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to leave them. That Parashat teaches us something very important. We are only in charge or responsible for the beginning of the process. The result is up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to start. What will happen in the end or how will it be, that's up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're supposed to start learning. If you finish, you finish. If you didn't finish, you didn't finish. That's why the Torah has no end. You know where you start in Bereshit. The Torah starts in Bereshit, but where does the Torah end? It never ends. And that's exactly the point. And that's the beauty of it. Since there's no end to it, you are in a way free from the anxiety of having to finish it, because I'm never going to finish it. I might as well just learn now appropriately, learn the right way. And also, each and every one of us has this part in Moshe Rabbeinu. It's like a Moshe Rabbeinu. We're afraid. Like HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Al Tidag, don't worry. This is the Eretz HaMuftachah, this is the promised land. Whatever you needed to do, you did. Now it's time for somebody else. And Moshe realizes there, he said, give somebody else that I'm going to. And he says, don't worry, I already took Yeshua. Yeshua is going to take care of stuff. By the way, Yeshua just left. But Yeshua will take care of it. Don't worry about Moshe Rabbeinu. When we say let go and let God, we really mean that. You need to do your part. You need to do your part. And your part is to do the ishtadlut and to have the emunah. Your job is to do what? And I keep saying to you over and over, and I say to you over and over again. Your job is to be...
All that you can be.
What?
All that you can be.
No. Your job is to be a pursuer of justice, a person who loves chesed and atzna lechet im elokecha. And we explain why this is in an ascending order of difficulty. We explain that. Asot mishpat, you have to say what you have to say, whether it's politically correct or not politically correct. You have to do justice. You have to pursue justice, whether you're going to get benefit or you're not going to get benefit. You have to say, ahavat chesed. I have to love, to do kindness. Why? Because it's really unnatural for us to do kindness. Because, we're very rational. Why should I help you? What do I get out of it? Help me, give me, I'll do something for you. Ahavat chesed. And yet the most difficult thing is atzna lechet im elokecha. You have to do things, and you have to do it and be humble in front of God. Don't look for recognition. Don't look for saying, people to come and say, oh, here comes the big Baal Chesed. Here comes the person who pursues justice. Here comes the big Nadiv, and so on and so forth. There were great people who gave an order in their will. Don't write anything on my tombstone, just my name and the name of my parents. My name, that's it. Born in this, died in this. That's it. I don't want to hear superlatives. Hatzna lechet, to be modest with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do what you need to do with quiet. That what brings peace and harmony. That who makes a big tararam, he makes a big noise. Stay away from them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want it from you. The act of zealousy of Pinchas comes from, and that's why the part of the Haftarah of last week is the beginning of this Haftarah. Because there's really no separation. One act is woven into the other. The act of zealousy of Pinchas is a complete act of selfishness. I don't have to worry about it. I don't want recognition. I don't want to do anything. I do what I need to do. And there's plenty of job to do. I don't need to be a brand name this and a recognition of that. And I only feel good when I have 1,000 people following me. When you do that, you're not modest with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you're doing things HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not ask you to do. And you could never be zealous. And since you can never be zealous, you better watch out, because most likely you're going to use Hashem names in vain. And for that you'll be punished. That's why Pinchas was not punished. And it's something great for all of us to remember. Do what you need to do, and don't worry about the rest. When people appreciate it and they don't appreciate it, when they do this or they do that, be careful not to hurt anybody. Always be grateful. Always acknowledge what the person had done for you. Say, thank you so much, I appreciate it. When you learn to appreciate people, this appreciating people and saying, thank you, I appreciate it, will teach you to appreciate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's very difficult to appreciate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you practice on doing that? You start to appreciate what every single person does for you. Big or small, it's all the same. Kana'ila HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not just a person who Pinchas who goes and stabs them. He's a person who lives his life in such a way that his life is zealous. What does it mean? Not screaming on top of your lungs and putting 3 types of tefillin and doing all these crazy things and so rolling your eyes and flying on carpets. Being zealous to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being modest, appreciative, and kind. Shabbat Shalom.